Hey everyone, I'm Jesse Jace. Guess what? I decided that punching down at Tokyo Notice Board writers was kind of bad form. However, illustrating to everyone that Trump was and continues to be barely literate is a much better application of my time. So here we are with From the Desk of Donald J. Trump, which is the blog he set up after he was kicked off of Twitter. Now, take a look at the features. Over here, look at the engagement. Well, there is no engagement. You can share to Facebook, you can share to Twitter, and you can like. But as you can see, there's no like counter. There's no like counter anywhere. Or I'm prepared to believe that there is a like counter, but only Trump can see it. Okay, I want to start with this one right here because it's funny right from the beginning. Look at C. Why you gotta write C at the beginning of an essay? Come on, what is this? C. 35 wayward Republicans. They just can't help themselves. Is this a sentence? How about 35 wayward Republicans just can't help themselves? Now you've got a subject and a predicate. We have much better policy and are much better for the country, which he capitalizes for no reason, but the Democrats stick together, the Republicans don't. That's a comma splice. They don't have the Romneys, Little Ben Sassy's and Cheneys. Oh, okay. Dude, you never, ever put an apostrophe in something to make it plural. That's not what apostrophes are for. Let's go down to this one from May 19th. Stick with Kirstie Alley. She's a great actress, loved by so many people, and a true original. Many millions of people greatly appreciate her support for again with the capitals country. Thank you, Kirstie. You're truly appreciated. Okay, I have a problem with the content. Okay, that's great. By the way, this photo is from like 1998. Okay, we've got You Can't Take My Daughter. Then she was in One Thing in 2019, and then she was in Scream Queens in 2016. Oh, 2016 was a big year, and so was 2015. Wow, all this TV work. Then she was in a show called Kirstie, which ran for a year. Baby Sellers. And Fat Actress. Come on. Kirstie Alley isn't doing Highly respected pollster John McLaughlin says 73% of all Republicans want Trump to run again in 2024. And Republican primary voters would support him 82% to 13%. Crazy Joe Scarborough and his blood-curdling psycho wife, Mika, are going crazy because their ratings have absolutely tanked. A new Ipsos Reuters poll, beliefs among Republicans. Okay, there's a comma there because this is the name of the poll, right? And another comma shows 53% believe Donald Trump is the true president, with a capital P. I always knew America was smart. 2020 election was tainted, 56%. What? So what you mean is 56% believe the 2020 election was tainted. Is that what you mean? And then he says the election was stolen and rigged. 61% rigged is capitalized. Also election capitalized back here. And it's the same problem. It was stolen and rigged, 61. So 61% believe that it was. Just get out. This is really similar to the one I did before, but he repeats himself. So this is a continuation of the greatest witch hunt in American history. It began the day I came down the escalator in Trump Tower, and it's never stopped. They wasted 2 years and $48 million in taxpayer dollars on Mueller and Russia. Impeachment hoax number 1, impeachment hoax number 2, and it continues to this day with illegally leaked confidential information like what? You're just gonna drop that and leave it. No other president in history has had to put up with what I have had to. And on top of all that, I have done a great job for our country. Whether it's taxes, regulations, our military, veterans, Space Force, our borders, speedy creation of a great vaccine, said to be a miracle, and protecting the Second Amendment. Okay, I like what this is, like what we got going on here. May 27th, with Memorial Day weekend coming up. Memorial Day weekend. It's weekend, it's not capitalized, you dipshit. Tomorrow people start driving in the biggest automobile days of the year. The biggest automobile days. The biggest automobile days. They're huge. I'm sorry to say the gasoline prices that you will be confronted with are far higher than they were just a short number of months ago when we had gasoline under $2 a gallon. Alright, now here's, on the substance of it, what he seems to not understand is that the price is driven up by demand. And demand is going up because people are starting to drive more because the lockdowns are easing up and, COVID's kind of calming down, so people can go out more. So of course, the price of gas is going to go up. Remember, as you're watching the meter tick and your dollars pile up, how much you need an electric car. Wasn't it great to be energy independent? But we are energy independent no more. This is a comma splice, and even more interesting, it links a question with a statement. It's really weird. Shame, shame, shame. Okay, he's like 5 years old here. Other than that, have a great Memorial Day weekend. Welcome to the Wholesome Dish. Hi, I'm Amanda Finks, also known as the Wholesome Dish. Okay, Amanda. Alright. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist, living in the St. Louis area. I'm an avid cook, travel nerd, and... You can't write and? Plus Oxford comma, by the way. Lover of good food. I'm trained in food science. She's like Trump, she capitalizes for no reason. And recipe development. Now, if you capitalize food science, why don't you capitalize recipe development? You're not even consistent. It's my mission to bring you the best recipes for your whole family will love. Okay. The best, oh, here we go. Title, The Best Classic Meatloaf. And then we jump down here where it says, The Best Meatloaf Recipe Ever, which is a sentence fragment. This traditional meatloaf recipe is just like Mom used to make. Just like Mom used to slather with radioactive ketchup, apparently. Yikes, look at that. Oh, the best classic meatloaf. There it is again. What makes really good meatloaf? Now she's gonna wax philosophical about meatloaf for a while. Trust me. I think, okay, you don't have to say that. We know it's what you think, Wholesome Dish, Amanda. The trick to good meatloaf is using lean ground beef. The problem with okay, here's a technique that a lot of food bloggers use, and it pisses me off. It's a kind of a straw man technique, straw man argument. The problem with a lot of meatloaf recipes, okay, we're just taking your word for it, this is a straw man argument, is that they call for ground beef with high fat content. As the meatloaf cooks, the fat cooks out and makes a greasy mess. Not this recipe. This whole thing is an imaginary, opponent for you. How to make moist meatloaf. You may be thinking, but won't lean ground beef make the meatloaf dry? Won't it make it dry? Not at all. The milk, egg, ketchup, and diced onion in the meat mixture is all working to keep the meatloaf moist and delicious. So this whole paragraph is just like calling me an idiot for thinking the meatloaf will be dry. Thanks. Can you freeze meatloaf? Yes. You know what? I didn't ask that question, okay? I came looking for the recipe, not... If I wanted to freeze meatloaf, I would Google, can you freeze meatloaf? Here, we're getting into it now. How to make the best meatloaf recipe. Make the meatloaf. What? Okay, but that's... No, that's not how... That's what you... Oh... This is just bullet points. And by the way, gigantic photo, followed by gigantic... look at that, mix it together really well. Good God, look at that. It looks like a dessert. How long to cook meatloaf? That's what he says. How long to cook meatloaf? No. Oh, this is what I love. When you're reading a recipe and then it goes like this. Why does my meatloaf fall apart? And then Amanda turns around and says, you may not have used enough mining ingredients. Well, Amanda, I'm following your recipe, so if it falls apart, it's your fault. This is another straw man argument, this whole thing. Like, it's basically you saying, some people don't follow my recipe and that's why they suck. And she ends it with an emoji, which is not something you do when you're a professional writer. By the way, try these easy comfort recipes, which you did not search for. And finally, here's the recipe. Good God. Followed by more gigantic photos and then comments. Let me put a big star mark on the recipe so that you can see the recipe is more than halfway down this page. Well, granted, the page goes on longer because of the comments, but when you're on your phone and you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and you're just looking for the recipe and hundreds of gigabytes of photos are loading and ads and pop-ups, you start to get angry. And then you start wanting to take the Wholesome Dish out to a lovely seafood dinner and never call her again. Downshiftology with Lisa Bryan. Okay, so here's Lisa Bryan. I'm a recipe developer, food blogger, YouTuber, and massive wanderluster. Okay. Not a word, Lisa. That's not a word. Okay, here we go. Now look at the title. Best ever guacamole. And then, in case you didn't read the title, she goes on to repeat, this is the best guacamole recipe as it's simple to make and uses fresh, high-quality ingredients. Authentic guacamole doesn't contain fillers. Like what, cardboard? Okay, here we go. I'm not one for hyperbole, but I am one for bullshit. I'm not one for hyperbole? Yes, you are. But this really is the best guacamole recipe. When it comes to crowd raving, crowd raving? Guacamole? Crowd raving is not a thing humans say. This is not human language. The key is not to get too fancy or to be too unique, which is my excuse for not being too fancy or too unique. Guacamole is meant to be easy to make and delicious, plain and simple. Sentence fragment. Now, here's the illustrated picture dictionary portion of the recipe, just in case you forgot what an onion looks like. Print this out and take it with you to the supermarket. Guacamole ingredients. With just 8 simple ingredients, you can make one of the all-time best dip recipes. You know, you put those words in a sentence, you render the entire sentence meaningless. So, just stick with your hyperbole, Lisa. It seems to be what you're good at. Avocados. I've got a few tips for picking ripe ones. Well, I'm not going to the goddamn farm. Oh, you mean choosing them? You mean selecting them at the supermarket? Okay, then say what you mean. Don't say picking avocados. What do I look like? Onion. I'm using yellow onion, which is most often used in Mexico, but you can use red onions as well, which is why this whole string of words is meaningless. Use Roma tomatoes, which are less juicy. No one wants a watery guac. Never say watery guac again. Gross. Cilantro, one of my favorite herbs and a staple in Mexican cuisine. Jalapeno. Oh, you mean jalapeno with a tilde and el ñ? Pick ripe avocados for the best. Again, select. We're not picking avocados. So, how do you pick, by which I mean select, good ripe avocados? First, grab avocados that still have the stem attached. You know what? I didn't ask for this. All of this, I want the recipe, not shopping tips. How do you make guacamole? That's what I've been trying to answer since I got to this website. Oh my god. Holy crap. Look how, and there's the recipe. Like, I had to, here, put a big old Hanamaru on that, because that's where the recipe is. Again, halfway down the page. God help you if you're looking at this on your phone. Because on your phone, you probably don't have an ad blocker, which means ads are jumping out at you like tigers from the jungle. Pages and pages of essays about what makes good guacamole. And that's not why I'm here, Lisa. Understand, Lisa?